This one is for Sao Paulo, Brazil. This song is called Can. Get the fuck up here! Get up, get up, get up! Let's go! Get the fuck up!
I've come from a city called Brusque in Santa Catarina. It's from the south of Brazil, and it's actually a 12-hour trip, and I haven't slept like for 1 day and a half. I arrived here at 7 a.m. and there was no one, just a couple of guys. What is it? What is this energy? What is happening here? You see, this place is small. There wasn't a lot of people there, but I'm sure that the next time Parkway Drive come here, it would be way better, because that's what Parkway is all about. I think if home is where the heart is, our home is where Parkway Drive is. It's where this energy goes, and that's all. That's all. I'm speechless.
So the South American tour finished, and a few of us decided that we'd stay on and do a trip that we'd all been talking about doing for years.
Have a great trip, brother. Yeah, brother. Go hard. Have a great tour, man.
We had a bit of time until the next tour started, so we decided that it was the perfect opportunity to do the trip.
The tour we just did was great, but what we were planning was the type of adventure that you can't get on tour. We headed back down to Santiago, Chile, and started getting ready.
Our plan was to buy second-hand motorbikes, and we wanted to ride up the coast of Chile and Peru, surfing and camping along the way. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we soon realised that we had a lot of shit to get done before we could leave. I'm drilling out my old screws that I snapped off because the Chilean mechanic couldn't do it, so I got to do it myself.
So after 4 days of running around Santiago, speaking bad Spanish and getting the bikes ready,
This is it. Adventure's about to begin. trip we had to go through the Atacama Desert, which is the driest place on Earth. Apparently in some areas it's never rained. We had to follow a lot of tiny dirt tracks that sort of followed the ocean around with big mountains coming down, and it made for some pretty breathtaking scenery.
To be finally doing this trip that we've been talking about for years was just amazing. We'd go days without seeing people, and I don't think I've ever felt so far away from home, but in a good way. It was the craziest adventure of my life.
So we're in Chile, at the Chilean-Peruvian border. We thought we were just going to go straight through. Turns out we have to go to Bolivia, 5 hours away, because they're not going to let us in with our bikes. So I guess we're off to Bolivia. In order to get to Bolivia, we had to go directly through the Andes, which is actually the second highest mountain range on Earth. Halfway through, it was pretty clear that we weren't equipped for the high altitude and the cold weather.
We got to about 15,000 feet and it was just too cold to keep going, so we decided to pull over and try and set up camp where we were.
My hands are freezing! Holy view! Unbelievable! We're actually camping in the mountains. In the snowy mountains, and
Psycho!
Wait, it's so cold.
so cold.
So last night we decided to sleep here in the Andes. It's 15,000 feet high. It was about -10. It's really hard to breathe. It's hard to do anything. We bought the cheapest sleeping bags, the cheapest tents we could find, because we didn't think we were going to get into cold weather. And last night was hell on earth. Let's go in here.
That was the roughest night I've ever had. The coldest night I've ever had. I've got all my clothes on. My feet are still numb. They've been numb for 10 hours. They're still numb. Poor little Pie over there had a couple of spews. Got altitude sickness.
Show us your head, poor old Pie.
That was the roughest night of my entire life. Crashed in sleep. Slept for half an hour, shivered the rest of the night, and then spewed everywhere every time I moved. It was real fun.